Good morning, everyone. This is D, and welcome to Uneven. It is 5:41. Do you like that? I kind of like that. Uneven. I shared it with a couple people yesterday, and got some really good feedback, and people seem to like it. And I checked Apple, and I checked Spotify, and some other places, and I don't find an Uneven podcast, just Uneven Podcast. And the domain unevenpodcast.com was available. And I think I'm going to run with that. I think that's a good name for this podcast. And the way I define it is, it's for those of us who are a little askew, a little off center, who struggle with some things that we don't talk about too much, maybe, or enough, or I don't know, just those of us who are struggling. Maybe that's what it is. Especially with life, especially with anxiety, especially with just psychological issues maybe that we're having trouble managing and helping us get through our lives. So, I don't know, I like Uneven. I think it's a good name. It catches the attention and I'm going with it. So welcome to Uneven. I had a thought this morning, and I thought it was interesting, and I wanted to share it with you. Because we all have rituals, we all have habits, we all have things we do on a daily basis. And we all adapt. We adapt to our circumstances and things that, things we have to deal with in our lives. One of those things recently for so many of us was, of course, COVID. And COVID hit, and this is not at all any kind of course, political statement on COVID. I think everybody had to deal with it in their own way, and, I'm not last person to judge people on that. Just not who I am. But we did the best, I think, for most of us that we could to get through it, but we became very isolated for a while. And it was a combination of two things, I think, that happened during that time. COVID fed off of already the technological advances of online media and online connection and social media. And those two put together severely isolated us for a time from direct human contact. And I mean face-to-face contact. I mean in-person contact. And I know we tried to get that contact, and thank God for, online media at that time, because it allowed us still to maintain contact, still to work for many of us, and still to stay somewhat social when we couldn't at the time because we were supposed to stay home. But I do think it added to the isolation that was already going on through social media and the computers, and it just made it even more so. And people relied on their phones and on other methods more so. And I don't know that that's very healthy. I don't think it's healthy in the long run to not completely, but to so heavily rely on a screen for human contact. I come from a world where we never had those. And I value that in-person communication. There's so much you get from that. I've worked from home for a long time. Always have. I mean, not always have. I used to work in the corporate world, and I used to work in offices for a long time and really got used to that and enjoyed it. I enjoyed going to an office. There was a lot of benefits to being at a workplace, and a lot of those were social. I would chat. I would stop by I worked in an office most of my life, and I was a database designer for 25 years. And usually in the morning, I'd go by and stop by people's cubes and say hi to them, or talk about, maybe their kids or their vacation, or, welcome back from their trip or whatever. And we'd have meetings, and often the beginning of the meetings, we would have the first few minutes would be, catching up or talking about the news of the day or something. Sometimes we catch lunch. I always liked that, catching lunch with somebody. And we'd go out and grab a bite together. Those were nice benefits to being in an office. Yeah, the commute wasn't always great. For some of us, it's ridiculous. Yes, I couldn't get as much done at the house at the time because of that commute and because of being away from home. And there's a lot of conveniences to being home, but I kind of missed that. When I went back into screenwriting for a while, and I've had two key occupations, database designer and then screenwriter and film festival organizer and film coordinator, that kind of stuff. I was working more from home. But I still had a good group of people I worked with. I worked on some films with people. I worked in organizations with people. I would go to film festivals. So I still had some good social there. Not the daily routine of the same people, but I had a good group. And I was doing more of that when, of course, I came off the benzodiazepines, off the anti-anxiety drugs, and my whole system just went crazy, and I couldn't work for a while. And I started doing a podcast on that, and I wrote a book, and I've been doing support, creating some organizations and helping other people with their organizations in that community and helping people with research and such. And I've been doing that since then. But all that's been from home. And less and less and less, I had that direct social in-person interaction. There were people that I've been working with at, say, the Benzodiazepine Action Work Group over at the consortium here in Colorado, the Consortium for Prescription Drug Abuse Prevention here in the state of Colorado, that I worked with for over a year and never met face-to-face. And that happened a lot. My wife started a job, and she hadn't met her boss for like 2 years because of COVID and the digital landscape. And she was hired to work remotely. And that's the world we're in. But I still crave that social. I still crave it. And I have a morning ritual now. And honestly, I thought this was all about my addiction to caffeine for a long time, or to the sugar. I thought that's really what this was about, and I needed to cut this out, and I needed to stop doing this because I didn't need the caffeine. It doesn't always do well with my symptoms, with my system since I came off benzos. And I needed to cut out some of the sugar, and I was trying to lose some weight, and I was trying to get healthier, and I'm trying to do the right thing, which is great, and I need to do that. But it struck me suddenly this morning of what it really is. And I knew there was more to this than just the drink and the pleasure of the drink. But it's my morning ritual. Each morning, pretty much on a regular basis now, and it's become more and more regular now, it's pretty consistent, probably 6 days a week I do this. I get up, I walk my dog, come back, get a little breakfast, feed my dog, go shower, check in on my email, and get ready for the day. And then usually around 9:30 or so, I drive to the grocery store. There's a big grocery store here, only about a mile from my house. And I drive to that grocery store, and I stop in at Starbucks, and I get my chai. It used to just be like a pumpkin spice chai or vanilla chai or something, but I finally got myself off the dairy, and now it's a oat milk chai with vanilla, extra hot, and that's my drink. And I get that in the morning. I walk around the store. I usually do a lap or two, a little more exercise, which I'm always happy to do. I pick up a few things for us for the day from the store, things my wife needs or that I need, and I come home and I sip on my drink for the next 30 minutes or so, an hour, as I'm working, and that's how I start my day. It's my ritual. What hit me this morning was how important that is to me and why I actually do it. I could make a chai here at home. I could make a drink here at home that would taste just as good. I know I could. And I don't go to Starbucks because I think they make the best chai, and I'm not saying they don't. It's just convenient. It happens to be the coffee shop that's in the store. And that's where I go. There are some other coffee shops around, but they're not close. And I'm all about, I'm okay with giving my business to local mom and pop stores, and I'd love to, but it's just convenience, to be honest. But at that store, people are pretty friendly. And I can tell you right now, I know the names of 15 to 20 people that work at my grocery store, especially the ones that work at the Starbucks there. And they know me. And we've shared things about our lives. I just found out a couple of weeks ago that one of them has been struggling with cancer, second bout of cancer, and that it's not going well. And it really hit me. And I really felt for her, and it was like it was a friend. Another one has been dealing with anxiety for a long time, and I shared with her about my podcast and what I do, and she checked it out. And other ones at the checkout stand when I go, check out with my groceries. There's people there. And I'd want to just list off the names, but I had a second thought about just saying that kind of identifies who these are. And like I've said before, I have some boundaries on this podcast, and that's mostly I don't want to pull anybody else into something that they never agreed to be part of. I don't think that's right. And so I'm not going to share the names, the first names of all these people, but I can spout off probably 15 plus names right now of people I know at this grocery store. And I talk to people. Most of my conversations are, 30 seconds or shorter with them. I came the other day, there's a gal at customer service that I know well. I mean, but I know. And I just had this big grin when she saw me. And I walked over to customer service, and I came over and said, "How you doing?" And she said, "How you doing?" It was just, 10 seconds. But it put a smile on my face. I get my exercise, I pick up a few things I need, I grab my chai, and I head home. But this morning it hit me. It's not about the chai. I mean, I like it, and it's probably something I might want to ease off of or even use less sugar, which I've done at times to, reduce it. But for me, it's the water cooler. This is my office space. This is the morning ritual of stopping by people's cubes and saying good morning before I get into the work of the day. This is my substitute for my office. I know these aren't my good friends, and I know they probably don't think twice about me when I'm gone. And I'm okay with that. Heck, most of our people in large offices, those relationships are rarely very deep. They're often, superfluous, but maybe sometimes you develop a really good relationship with one or two people. And I know that won't happen here. And I know they're paid to be friendly. I don't care. It starts my day in a good place. It starts my day on a happier note. What's wrong with that? It's my routine. And I've found a way to get some social. It doesn't replace the social I miss from being in an office. It doesn't replace the social I miss from doing film work and being at film festivals and everything like that. But it helps. And between that and some neighbors around here with dog play dates and meeting some new people, and with my family and my extended family around me and good friends I've had most of my life, together it creates a social network to help meet the needs that I have. I'm an extroverted introvert, I think, is what I came up with one day, or ambivert, whatever I said. But basically it means I re-energize by myself, but I still desire and crave social. And I need it more than my wife. I need it even more than my wife does. It's something that I value and I seek. So this is a way I have found to handle that. And there's more to the ritual. I also, in that short drive, about 5 minutes in the car, I listen to sports radio. So I tune in for about 5 minutes. I pick up some sports radio on the way there. And I pick up some sports radio on the way back. And it's something I enjoy. So that's another piece of it. I don't listen to anything really at home when I work. Too distracting for me. So that's where I do that. And that's where I listen to that. What I'm trying to say is most of us need social to some degree, and many of us probably are missing that or are trying to fill the void with online, with our phones. And it doesn't handle everything. It doesn't do the same things that in-person connection does. So find a way to get that in-person connection. I think it's very valuable to all of us. But also that we adapt and we find new ways of getting what we need. I didn't even know that's why I was doing it. I mean, I had little ideas that, hey, that's kind of nice. I get to say hi to people and this is helpful too, but it never really hit me like it did this morning. That's my water cooler. That's where I chat with people at the office. They're at work. And I'm kind of working. I mean, I'm taking a break from work. We just don't happen to work for the same company or organization. And that's okay. I've always valued the friendliness of people. I've always valued the kindness of people. I've always been affected by people being nice to me. And there's nothing wrong with that. So I go to places I can find that help me out a little bit each day and pick up my mood from the beginning so that I have a better day, and it usually helps. So find that connection if that's what you need, or find that solace if that's what you need. For some people, it's not the social connection they need. It's a break from the social they need for some of you. For some of you, you just need that alone time. Your house is full of 4 kids and 2 dogs and a parakeet. Yeah, you want some time to yourself. And I get that. So find that if that's what you need. For all of us, it's a balance. We need a little of both. Anyway, that's all I wanted to share with you today, was just a little bit about how we adapt, how we find what we need, and how I can really be stuck at the end of these things trying to find a good way to summarize and close out a podcast episode and fail miserably at it. And I fail at a lot of things in my life. I failed at a lot, more than you know. And I'm okay with that. It's from those failures that I've learned. Some of them. And some I haven't learned and had to repeat them. But part of, I think, this, of seeing that morning ritual to the grocery store for me, is about accepting myself as I am. This is something that I need. It's something that isn't a major negative in my life. And 1 chai a day is not going to kill me. It's not going to hurt me, as long as I'm healthy most of the day. And it's something that gets me through the day. It feeds a need, a social need for me. And that's okay.
Hey, this is Dee. Thank you so much for stopping by and checking out our podcast. I do need to remind everyone that this podcast is for informational purposes only and should never be considered medical, psychological, or professional health advice of any kind. If you or someone you know is dealing with significant mental health issues, please seek professional help. Resources can be found in our show notes and on our website at unevenpodcast.com. Take care of yourself. and I'll catch you on the flip side.